The rain didn't just fall, it was a deluge, a furious assault on the city. In the dead of night, street-wide alarms blared, announcing an emergency evacuation. A flood was coming. My husband, Ethan, took a call. His face tightened. "It's important," he said, already grabbing his keys. "I have to go." And just like that, he was gone, leaving me, 4 months pregnant, to face the rising waters alone. The flood surged through the streets, a murky, churning tide that quickly swallowed my knees. I pressed myself against the walls of buildings, fighting my way forward. At a corner, the current, now a violent torrent, knocked me off my feet. I thrashed in the icy, debris-filled water, my lungs burning. My frantic hands finally found purchase on a massive, uprooted tree. I clung to it for dear life as it bucked and spun in the current, my world a blur of darkness and roaring water, until finally, hands pulled me to safety and into the sterile white of a hospital. I survived. My baby did not. When I woke, a frantic, primal grief seized me. I called Ethan again and again, but my calls went straight to voicemail. The next day, I learned why he had left in such a hurry. His first love, Chloe, had posted on social media. The background picture was of Ethan, standing protectively behind her and her young son. The caption read, "Thank you to my first love, for saving me and my child." For 3 days, there was silence from Ethan. No returned calls. Just a single text message. Chloe and her husband divorced. It's not easy for her, raising a kid alone. The flood came so suddenly, they couldn't handle it. I'm just helping them out. I won't be back for a few days. Take care of yourself and the baby. Reading his words, I felt nothing. No anger, no sadness. Only a vast, cold emptiness. As far as I was concerned, the man I married was already dead. I replied with 6 words. "Ethan, I want a divorce." I regretted marrying him. I regretted ever letting him into my life. If I had a second chance, I would have run the other way. He was handsome, brilliant, the object of every girl's affection since childhood. I, in my youthful ignorance, was drawn to his light like a moth to a flame. I entered his world during his darkest summer, the year his first business failed and Chloe, his high school sweetheart, abandoned him for someone wealthier. For years, I was the one who tended the fire of our relationship, my warmth the only thing keeping it from sputtering out. Later, when my own father's company went bankrupt and he was sent to prison, everyone told Ethan to distance himself from me, to protect his reputation. He didn't. Instead, he proposed. I was so moved, so certain I had finally melted the ice around his heart. Grateful for his loyalty, I threw myself into helping him rebuild his career. As he launched his second startup, I was his fiercest soldier. I drank until I was sick, securing deals that made him successful. Once his company was stable, I retreated into the role of the perfect wife, creating a peaceful home so he could thrive without worry. I thought such selfless devotion would earn his love. I never imagined it could all be undone by a single phone call from his white moonlight. My divorce text finally elicited another response. "Clara, are you crazy? Why are you talking about divorce out of the blue? I told you, Chloe is alone with an 8-year-old. It was dangerous. I was just helping. Do you really have to make a scene about this? Have you no compassion? Are you even human? I'm not human? Is the man who abandons his pregnant wife to save another woman the definition of humanity? Yes, perhaps I was crazy. You'd have to be, too. Marry a cold-blooded animal like him. Maybe it was my fault. I had made him the center of my universe for so long, he had forgotten I had one of my own." Just then, Chloe's social media updated again. "My son just has a little scrape, but he's so worried he insisted on bringing him to the hospital. He's so much more reliable than the boy's deadbeat dad. This time I'll be sure to cherish you." The picture was of Ethan, his face a mask of anxious concern, examining a small boy's foot. Seeing him lavish such care on another woman's child made me feel like a cosmic joke. So, Ethan didn't dislike children. He just disliked my child. In all the months Of my pregnancy, he had never once accompanied me to a prenatal checkup. Whenever I tried to talk about our baby's future, he would cut me off with impatience. I'm a busy man, Clara. I have 1,000 things to deal with out there. Do you have to bother me with this useless nonsense the moment I get home? I looked closer at the photo. The hospital background was familiar. It was the one I was in. My first instinct was to march down to pediatrics and confront them. But I stopped myself. It wasn't necessary. I was settling my discharge paperwork when I ran into them anyway. Chloe recognized me first, her face a caricature of surprise. Clara. What a coincidence. What are you doing here? I nodded a curt greeting, pretending not to see Ethan hovering a short distance behind her. But she wouldn't allow it. Ethan, look, she called out loudly. Look who we ran into. Her voice drew the attention of everyone in the waiting area. She stood tall, a triumphant smile on her face, looking for all the world like the rightful wife. My instinctive desire to shrink away only made me look guilty, drawing whispers from the crowd. Seeing he couldn't hide, Ethan went on the offensive. Clara, I can't believe you followed me here. If you don't trust me, then maybe we should get a divorce. It wasn't the first time he'd thrown that word at me. In the past, I had always been the one to beg, to compromise, to swallow my pride to win him back. This time, my response was a simple, quiet, fine. The flood had happened in the middle of the night. People had died. For days, he hadn't asked if I was alive or dead. He had spent his time with another woman, another child. And now, seeing me, his first instinct wasn't to ask if I was safe, if our baby was okay. He couldn't even see that my belly was no longer swollen, but to accuse me of stalking him. What use did I have for a man like this? My quiet agreement seemed to throw him off. He had expected me to crumble, to plead. My composure in front of his precious Chloe was an insult to his ego. He grabbed my collar. Do you have any idea what you're saying? You really dare to divorce me? Do you think you'll ever find a man as good as me again? He lowered his voice, hissing with self-righteous anger. You're so petty. Chloe is a single mother. Of course, it was dangerous for her during the flood. Shouldn't I have helped her? You're a woman, you'll have a child. How can you be so unreasonable? So, he did know I was a woman. He did know I had a child. His child. But because I wasn't Chloe, I was expected to be the sacrificial lamb, the endlessly tolerant one. At that thought, the last embers of warmth in my heart turned to ash. I tore his hand away. You're right. I am an unreasonable woman, I said, my voice like ice. Go be with your perfectly reasonable woman and her child. A man as good as you deserves a woman who carries another man's bastard. I turned to leave, but Chloe, holding her son's hand, blocked my path. Clara, she said, her voice oozing false sincerity, if it wasn't for my son, I would have let the flood take me before I called Ethan. There's nothing going on. Ethan was just worried about the boy, that's why he stayed with us. I'll send him home in a couple of days, don't be angry with him. Do it for the sake of the child. This woman, the cause of my child's death, dared to mention a child to my face. Something inside me snapped. Crack. I slapped her, hard. Doesn't your son have a father? When you're in trouble, why don't you call him instead of my husband? If you want to trick Ethan into being a father to your son, just say so. You can have him. For free. Chloe clutched her face and scurried behind Ethan, her shoulders shaking with sobs. Ethan, she hit me. Ethan's protective instincts flared. He wrapped an arm around Chloe, ready to lash out at me. But her son darted forward and kicked me hard in the shin. You bitch. You're trying to steal my mommy's man. I didn't hesitate. I kicked him right back. The mother and son collapsed to the floor, wailing in a heap. Ethan stared at me, dumbfounded. He had never seen this side of me. I looked him dead in the eye. Ethan, I said, my voice ringing with newfound strength, it is I who am divorcing you. Be at the Civil Affairs Bureau tomorrow. 10 o'clock sharp. Back home, the sight of the nursery I had so lovingly prepared felt like a physical blow, eyeing out my heart. It had taken us 5 years to conceive, due to Ethan's low sperm count. Now, a confluence of natural disaster and human cruelty had stolen him from me. I packed a small bag and checked into a hotel. There, in the sterile anonymity of the room, I cradled my empty belly and wept, silent tears soaking the collar of my shirt. Despite everything, I felt I owed his mother a call. She was the only one in his family who had ever been genuinely kind to me. When she heard I was divorcing Ethan, she begged me not to. I finally broke down and told her everything, including the miscarriage. She stopped trying to persuade me, her words replaced by repeated, heartbroken apologies. The moment I hung up with her, Ethan called. "Clara, where the hell are you? It's late, why aren't you home?" His voice was tight with fury. I sighed. "That's no longer your concern. Tomorrow morning. Bring your documents. Civil Affairs Bureau." A crash echoed through the phone, a glass hitting a wall. "Are you insane, Clara? You're divorcing me over this petty nonsense? Have you thought about our child? Do you want him to be ridiculed from the day he's born?" His words had no effect on me. I didn't even bother to reply. After a long pause, his tone softened. "Clara, just come home first. Even if we're getting a divorce, we should at least talk about it face to face." Fine. The next morning, I went to what was once my home. The lock had been changed. It was Chloe who opened the door. This, I had not expected. On the floor by the entrance was the box for a new lock cylinder. She quickly snatched it up, a fleeting look of embarrassment on her face before it was replaced by her usual arrogant smirk. "What are you doing here?" she asked. The sheer audacity of the question was stunning. In the past, it would have sent me into a rage. Now, I just felt tired. "Ethan asked me to come," I replied coolly. "Where is he?" Her eyes darted around. "You must be joking. Why would he ask you here? Just last night he was in my arms telling me he never wanted to see you again." I knew she was trying to provoke me, but I didn't care. It was her old trick. Ever since Ethan's company took off, she had divorced her own husband and inserted herself into our lives, trying every trick in the book to steal him away. I had argued with Ethan about it countless times, but his response was always the same. "She's a single mother, Clara. What's the big deal if I help her out a little? Why do you have to be so petty?" Now, I had no desire to fight her. She wanted Ethan? She could have him. I was desperate to be rid of him. My indifference only seemed to spur her on. "Lost the baby, did you? Serves you right. That's what you get for trying to compete with me." I had intended to ignore her, to treat her like the mad dog she was. But when she mentioned my child, a cold fury washed over me. I stepped right up to her, my finger pointed at her face. "You dare talk about my son? I will end you." She crossed her arms, unfazed. "Let me tell you something. I wanted you dead. I called Ethan over that day hoping the flood would drown you and that thing in your belly. You're just too damn lucky to be alive." Crack. My hand flew, the sound of the slap echoing in the entryway. Chloe moved to retaliate, but her eyes flickered to something behind me, and her expression changed instantly. "Clara, you misunderstand," she whimpered, her voice suddenly fragile. "I just came to see Ethan about something important, it's not what you think." A cold voice cut through the air from behind me. "Clara, what are you doing?" Ethan strode past me and stood in front of Chloe, his voice low and concerned. "Are you all right? Why haven't you left yet?" Chloe clutched her cheek, tears welling in her eyes. "I was just leaving." I tried to explain to Clara that I was just here on business, but she wouldn't listen, she just hit me. Ethan glared at me. "This is your problem. You always assume the worst. Chloe and I are innocent. Now, apologize to her." The absurdity was breathtaking. I was being insulted and threatened in my own home by my husband's mistress, and I was supposed to apologize? This man was truly something else. I looked at the two of them, a matched set of liars. "The only ones who need to apologize are you two. You killed my child. You both deserve to burn in hell. Crack. His slap was so hard it sent me to the floor, the world spinning. You bitch, he snarled. How dare you use our child to curse us? You venomous shrew. Through a dizzying haze, I saw the front door open again. It was my mother-in-law. She grabbed a broom from the corner and descended on them like a fury. You animal, she shrieked, beating Ethan with the bristles. You give me back my grandson. My grandson is dead because of you. Then she turned on Chloe. And you shameless whore. Wasn't it enough that you ruined him once? Now you come back to kill my grandson? I'll kill you. At the words killed the child, Ethan froze. He scrambled over to me, his hand hovering over my flat stomach. His face went pale with shock. The baby? Where's my baby? The world went black. I woke up in the hospital again. Ethan was watching me, his face etched with anxiety. How are you feeling? Does anything hurt? I looked at him, my eyes empty. Did you sign the divorce papers? I asked. He grabbed my hand. Clara. I'm so sorry. I didn't know the baby was. He choked on the words. I'll make it up to you. We can have another child. He had never spoken to me with such humility, but it was too late. I no longer cared. I closed my eyes. I don't need any of that. I just want a divorce. He sat on the edge of the bed, pressing my hand to his chest. His eyes were red-rimmed, his voice hoarse. Clara, I know I was wrong. I was worse than an animal, what I did to you and our son. Whether you believe me or not, I love you. And I loved our baby, this child we waited so long for. He loved me? He loved our child? A love that meant abandoning us in a natural disaster to save another woman? He started showing me things on his phone, deeds for a house in a good school district, brochures for early education centers, even plans for taekwondo and soccer lessons. See? Clara? I was preparing for our child. I was so excited for him to arrive. I just never imagined a disaster like this. His voice broke, and tears streamed down his face. In the past, these words would have moved me to my core. Now, they were just noise. Ethan, I don't want to talk about this anymore. I just want a divorce. Nothing else. My resolve seemed to make him desperate. He tightened his grip on my hand, then slid from the bed to his knees. Clara, I know you love me, he pleaded, his eyes swimming with tears. You stood by me when I had nothing. You wouldn't give up on me, right? He had always known how much I loved him. And he had used that knowledge to trample all over me. This time, I was done. When I was discharged, Ethan ignored my struggles and forcibly took me home. He had invited all our friends and family, hired a chef from a 5-star hotel, and prepared a lavish banquet. It was, he announced, a celebration of our new beginning. As the party started, he gave a heartfelt speech. Today, my wife Clara comes home from the hospital. And it is the first day of my solemn promise to her. I, Ethan, swear to the heavens that I will never fail Clara again in this life. The guests, plied with expensive food and wine, applauded warmly. Ethan is such a loyal man. Look how successful he is, but he's still so devoted to his wife. Clara is so lucky to have found such a responsible, loving husband. They make me believe in love again. He basked in their praise, then his eyes found mine, searching for my approval. But all I saw was a pathetic, performative charade. True love doesn't need an audience, it exists in quiet, mutual support. My indifference clearly deflated him. His smile faded as he walked over to me. Clara, I spent a week planning this party. Are you not happy? Did he really think one grand, empty gesture could erase everything? I gave a bitter laugh. Ethan, this was unnecessary. I don't like these things, and I don't want you to do anything for me ever again. He forced a smile. I made you fall in love with me once, I can do it again. I'll find what you like, I'll win back your heart. He pulled a small box from his pocket. Inside was a ruby necklace. Clara, I had this custom ordered from South Africa. It's a limited edition. Do you like it? I recognized it instantly. It was the same design Chloe wore. If I'm not mistaken, I said coldly, Chloe has one just like it. Also from South Africa, I presume? His face flushed, his eyes darting away. Hers must be a fake. I never gave her anything. I sighed. Ethan, stop lying to me. More importantly, stop lying to yourself. You've never gotten over Chloe. I'm setting you free now, to find your true love. Isn't that a good thing? Why continue with this charade? His hand holding the necklace froze. He stared at me, shocked. After a long moment, his jaw tightened. He threw the necklace to the floor. Since you hate her so much, I'll throw her away just like this necklace. I promise you, from this day on, Chloe and I are finished. We will never see each other again. Is that good enough for you? I could see the reluctance in his eyes, the strain of the promise. And I no longer cared. When I loved you, you treated my devotion like dirt. Now that my heart is dead, why bother? He sighed, his eyes dark with frustration. He grabbed my arms. Clara, just tell me. What do I have to do to make you stay? I shook him off and went to my room to pack my remaining things. In a rage, he dismissed all the guests. When I tried to leave, he blocked the door. Clara, I know you don't believe I'll break it off with her. You wait. I'll call her over right now. I'll break up with her in front of you, and I'll make her apologize. How about that? I had no interest in his theatrics. Stop this nonsense. It's useless. Just move, and we can part on civil terms. Before I could finish, he threw himself to the floor and wrapped his arms around my legs, dialing his phone with one hand. I struggled, but he held on tight. Chloe, get over to my house right now. You need to apologize to Clara. Her confused voice came through the speaker. Apologize? Me, to her? Are you serious? Hearing her reluctance, Ethan's face darkened. Are you coming or not? If you don't, that $1 million you borrowed from me, I might just need it back. Fine. I'm coming. I'll be right there, okay? After hanging up, he started pleading with me again. Clara, I thought I didn't have you in my heart. I thought you were just a convenience. But when you collapsed in front of me, I felt like my world was ending. For all these years, you've taken care of me, of my life. Without you, I feel empty, unsafe. I always thought you were the one who depended on me. But I was wrong. You were my rock. Clara, what will I do without you? In the past, such words would have brought me to tears. Now, they were just an annoyance. All I wanted was to get away from him, to never see him again. The sight of him was a constant reminder of my lost child, a wound that would never heal. Just as I was trapped, the door opened. Chloe stood there, staring in astonishment at Ethan clinging to my legs on the floor. What are you doing? Seeing her, Ethan's eyes lit up as if she were his savior. He scrambled to his feet, dragged her over to me, and held her by the arms. Chloe, quick, explain to Clara. Tell her there's nothing between us. Go on, tell her, he urged, winking at her frantically. Even now, he treated me like a fool. Chloe was not in a cooperative mood. She shook off his hands. What are you doing, Ethan? You're hurting me. Is this woman really worth all this? You're on your knees, you're dragging me here to prove your innocence, have you no shame? Crack. Enraged by her lack of cooperation, Ethan slapped her hard across the face. It's because of you, you damn woman. You've ruined my family. Now Clara is leaving me. I'm going to kill you. Chloe clutched her face, her eyes blazing with fury. You bastard, Ethan. You hit me for this hag. You want me to prove your innocence? Fine. The truth is, we've been sleeping together since she got pregnant. Hundreds of times. Seeing she was completely unhinged, Ethan lunged forward to cover her mouth. I watched the drama unfold, a dark amusement stirring within me. While they were wrestling and screaming, I slipped out the door, the sounds of their fight fading behind me. News of our divorce spread like wildfire through our circle of friends and former classmates. I knew without asking it was Chloe's handiwork. Her narrative wasn't just that we were divorcing, but that Ethan was divorcing me for her. She wore the label of the other woman not as a mark of shame, but as a badge of honor, a public declaration of their great love. I couldn't have been happier. I wanted this over with. Ethan, however, had other ideas. When his own pleas failed, he sent his parents to persuade me to stay. My father-in-law had once been an employee at my father's company, starting his own business with my dad's support. But after my father's downfall, he had repeatedly urged Ethan to distance himself from me, and his attitude toward me had become cold and dismissive. My mother-in-law was kinder. So when she asked me to come to their house to talk, I couldn't refuse. At the dinner table, my father-in-law spoke first. It's normal for a man to have 2 or 3 women on the side for business. I don't know what you're making such a fuss about. A woman's job is to manage the house and raise the children. Don't meddle in a man's affairs. Besides, you and Ethan have been married for 5 years and you haven't even given us a grandchild. We haven't complained about you, but you have the nerve to ask for a divorce? Ethan has spoiled you rotten. He spoke with an air of absolute authority, as if his words were gospel. I finally understood where Ethan got his talent for self-righteous nonsense. It was a family trait. My mother-in-law smiled and nodded throughout his speech, her silent agreement erasing the last vestiges of goodwill I had for her. I looked at his smug face and found it comical. I remembered his own daughter coming to them in tears last year, complaining about her husband's affair. I couldn't help but laugh. By your logic, your son-in-law's affair was perfectly justified. So why did you send Ethan and a dozen of his friends to go and rough him up? Or do you just think that because my family has no one left to defend me, you can bully me as you please? The old man's face went white, and he sputtered, You can't compare yourself to my daughter. She runs her own company, she's a boss. You're just a vase that my son Ethan keeps around. Without him, you're nothing. Go on, try it. Divorce him. I guarantee you'll come crawling back within 3 months. And when you do, don't expect us to welcome you. You'd better think carefully. I laughed coldly. My mind is made up. As for who will have regrets, I won't waste my breath arguing. We'll just have to wait and see. Seeing the talks had failed, Ethan, who had been hiding in another room, rushed out. Dad, what are you saying? I asked you to talk her into staying, not to chase her away. The old man slammed his hand on the table. Don't you yell at me. What's so great about this jealous woman anyway? Let her go. Don't let her stop you from finding someone better. I smiled and turned to leave, blaming myself for even coming. Ethan rushed to block my path. Clara, don't listen to my dad. I'll do whatever you want from now on. Tell me what I did wrong, and I'll change, okay? I glanced back and forth between him and his father. Some things are carved into your bones, I said with a sneer. They can't be changed. He heard the mockery in my voice, and his brow furrowed. Clara, do you really think you can do better without me? Do you have any idea how cruel the world is? I wasn't surprised by his arrogance. Don't forget, I said with a faint smile, half of your clients were secured by me. And you have the audacity to say I can't survive in this world? We'll see, won't we? Leaving the entire family staring in stunned silence, I walked out. After I left, my best friend, Ava, a classic second-generation heiress, proposed we start a business together. With my talent and the connections my father had left me, she said, our chances of success were high. She would handle the funding, her father was pressuring her to do something productive. I, on the other hand, was determined to prove I was not the vase they thought I was. We shook on it. With our combined efforts and my deep knowledge of the industry, our company took off, quickly becoming a major competitor to Ethan's. He called me more than a dozen times. He even showed up at my office, telling me if I wanted to work, I could just come back to his company. Why was I partnering with an outsider to steal his business? I laughed in his face. Who, exactly, is an outsider here? Since Ethan refused an amicable divorce, I had to file a lawsuit. Chloe, meanwhile, couldn't resist poking the bear, sending me messages, terrified that Ethan and I might reconcile. Clara, you weren't serious about the divorce, were you? I haven't heard anything. Ethan and I have so many stories I haven't told you yet. Do you want to hear them? If you have the guts, meet me at Cliff's Peak. I'll tell you everything to your face. I knew she was up to something, but my hatred for the woman who killed my child was a living thing. If I had a chance to deal with her, I wouldn't hesitate. I accepted her challenge. But I came prepared. I borrowed Ava's personal bodyguard, instructing him to secretly monitor Chloe's every move and to film the entire encounter. If something happened to me, the world would know the truth. To my surprise, she brought her son with her. It seemed she wasn't planning a physical attack. But her first words still shocked me. Did you know? This child is Ethan's. We were together even when I was still married to my ex-husband. I was surprised, but not angry. I just gave a non-committal, oh. My calmness seemed to agitate her. You're not angry at all? Ethan cheated on you, and you're this calm? A dog will always return to its vomit, I snorted. Nothing to be surprised about. She knew I was insulting her, and her lip curled in a snarl. I'm telling you, Ethan is going to claim this child, and he's going to marry me. The Fu family's future is all mine. Her arrogance was laughable. She saw the mockery in my eyes and pointed a trembling finger at me. What did you say to him? Now he won't marry me, and he wants a paternity test. I glanced at the boy, who was glaring at me with open hostility, and I understood her panic. If the child is Ethan's, then you should get the test done. It will force his family to accept you. A flash of panic crossed her eyes. You don't need to tell me what to do. So that was her game. She wasn't planning some big move, she was just fishing for information. My time was too valuable to waste on trash like her. I have no interest in your sordid love story. If you don't have anything more interesting to say, I'll be leaving. As I turned to go, she let out a wild, high-pitched laugh. Clara, there are no cameras here. Just the three of us. If my child were to fall off this cliff, who do you think the police would suspect? That truly stunned me. To marry into the Fu family, she would sacrifice her own child? It was monstrous. While I was still reeling, she grabbed her struggling son and threw him off the cliff. The poor boy's last words were a desperate scream, "Mommy, let me go." After he was gone, she turned to me, her eyes bloodshot, her gaze fixed on me with a terrifying intensity. I stumbled back. A ghastly, chilling smile spread across her face. Don't worry, I'm not going to kill you. I still need you to be my scapegoat. Then, her face transformed. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she pulled out her phone. Police. Someone just pushed my son off a cliff. You have to come and arrest her. After reporting me, she made another call. Ethan. Our son is gone. It's all your fault. You didn't believe he was yours, and now he's gone. Are you happy now? It was Clara. That bitch pushed him. She was jealous that I had a child, so she killed ours. Ethan, you have to get revenge for our son. My initial fear gave way to a cold, calm clarity as I watched her performance. I was horrified by her cruelty. To hide the truth that the child wasn't Ethan's, she had murdered him and tried to frame me in one fell swoop. It was beyond evil. As I stood there, stunned into silence, my own phone rang. It was Ethan. Clara, you are a monster, he screamed. You wouldn't even spare a child. Are you even human? Are you trying to wipe out my entire family line? I'm not finished with you. I laughed coldly. Just you wait and see. I hung up. Soon, the police arrived and took both of us to the station. The media descended like vultures. Chloe wept for the cameras. She suspected I was having an affair with her husband, so she killed my child. She's an animal. My son was so small, he never hurt her, how could she? While I was being questioned, a firestorm of condemnation erupted online. This woman is a psychopath. She should be executed 1,000 times. I heard she just had a miscarriage. She must have been jealous of someone else's child. Envy is a deadly sin. A woman like that should never be allowed to have children. They'd be evil too. Ethan arrived at the station, his initial rage replaced by a look of weary disappointment. You're lucky. The boy is alive, he's in surgery. But he's badly injured. He might. How could you be so impulsive, Clara? It's not easy for me to help you now. I ignored him. My bodyguard entered the interrogation room with me. I told the police the truth. Chloe had lured me to the cliff, and she had thrown her own son off in an attempt to frame me. Then, I produced the crystal-clear video my bodyguard had taken. It showed the entire incident, including Chloe's chilling words. The truth was undeniable. Chloe, still holding court with the media, was arrested on the spot. I was cleared of all suspicion and released. The media was in an uproar. How could the victim be arrested while the perpetrator walked free? They smelled a cover-up. To silence the mob, I released the video to them and uploaded it online, along with a detailed account of everything Chloe had done to destroy my marriage and my life. The tide turned instantly. Journalists who had vilified me scrambled to retract their stories and issue apologies. Ethan rushed to my side, apologizing, saying he knew I could never do such a thing. I just laughed in his face. The internet exploded again. My God, I've never seen such a wicked mother. She should be drawn and quartered. I'm so sorry, Ms. Clara. We misunderstood you. You are brilliant and brave. Leave that scumbag husband. He doesn't deserve you. Let me. The child survived the fall, but his spine was shattered. He would be confined to a bed for the rest of his life. Ethan did a paternity test. The boy wasn't his. In a final, pathetic twist, a second test proved he wasn't Chloe's ex-husband's son either. The child was placed in the care of a welfare agency. Chloe was sentenced to life in prison for attempted murder. The court finalized our divorce. As the party at fault, the division of assets was heavily skewed in my favor. As we signed the final papers, Ethan made one last attempt. Clara, I really know I was wrong. The days you've been gone. I miss you so much. Please don't leave me. I sighed. You can't unspill water, Ethan. The moment you abandoned me in the flood, this ending was inevitable. He finally signed his name. After the divorce, my career soared. And my personal life blossomed. Through work, I became close with Ava's younger brother, Ryan. When he learned my story, he fell for me, pursuing me with a gentle, steadfast passion. He drove me to and from work, planned intimate candlelit dinners, and was a constant, comforting presence. Faced with the handsome, kind-hearted Ryan, I didn't stand a chance. I fell for him, hard. Compared to Ethan's casual neglect, Ryan cherished me. A simple cold would have him insisting on taking me to the doctor himself. His parents, who had known me since I was a child, were thrilled. They knew my past, they respected my abilities, and they wholeheartedly supported our relationship. After 6 months, we decided to get married. Unlike the exhausting struggle of my first marriage, this one was effortless. Ryan, though 3 years my junior, was mature and considerate. He handled every detail of the wedding, rarely letting me worry about a thing. The moment that touched me most was when we were looking for a wedding dress. He took me to every bridal shop in the city. I was getting tired and was ready to settle. This one is fine, I told him with a smile. It's good enough. Ryan's expression was serious. A wedding dress is the most important thing for a bride. It can't be good enough. If we can't find the perfect one in this city, I'll take you to the next one. His words warmed my heart. I remembered dress shopping with Ethan. He had gotten tired after one store, pointed at a random dress, and declared it was the one. It didn't fit properly, and I felt awkward and uncomfortable throughout our entire wedding day. You can tell how much a man cares from the little things. While we were booking our wedding venue, we ran into Ethan, who was there for a business dinner. When he saw Ryan and me together, his face went from red to white. "You too, so quickly?" Ryan wrapped an arm around me, looking at Ethan with pride. "When you find true love, you don't wait around for someone else to snatch it up." Ethan's mouth twitched. "Well, congratulations," he mumbled. "Our wedding is next month," I said casually. "You should come." He gave a forced smile. Of course, of course." He turned to leave and promptly walked into a wall. Ethan did not come to our wedding. The date coincided with the day his company, bankrupt and broken, was officially liquidated. Our company's rise had been his fall. That, combined with his personal turmoil, had left him a hollowed-out man, unable to salvage his business. I didn't hear from him again for a very long time. I saw him again years later, on a busy city street. My family and I, my husband, our 2 beautiful children, and I, were out shopping. He was sitting on a corner, disheveled and dirty, with a begging bowl at his feet. He recognized me and quickly lowered his head in shame. I pretended not to see him, but as we walked past, I dropped a $20 bill into his bowl.